Hello there, beautiful pixels. My name is Alaydriem, and welcome back to another Minecraft Bedrock Redstone tutorial with your favorite cardigan-wearing Minecraft character. And today in this episode, I'm here to show you this very simple and easy to build Shroomlight farm and warp stem farm for your Minecraft Bedrock 1.21 world. This farm produces about 1,300 Shroomlights per hour and about 1,600 warp stem blocks every single hour that you can use for all sorts of building needs, and boasts a number of safety features to ensure that you don't accidentally break the farm and ensure that it is consistently and long-term reliable. Using this farm couldn't be any simpler. All you need to do is turn it on, stand on top of this dispenser right here, and place down some of this warped fungus, and the farm will take care of the rest. All the wood that's generated here will be chunked up for you. All of the Shroomlights and all of the warped wood will be generated above and put into a TNT chamber, where they will then be collected for you and harvested. For those looking to build this farm, bear in mind you will need a good and reliable source of bone meal. I recommend my bone meal farm that I have shown here that produces between 9,000 and 11,000 pieces of bone meal every single hour. It's super duper reliable and will generate you all of the bone meal that you'll need to run this and any other of the bone meal intensive farms that exist here on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. You'll also need access to both redstone and gunpowder for the TNT, both of which can be acquired from my witch farm as I have shown here. It produces a crazy amount of gunpowder and redstone very, very quickly, making it ideal for this sort of project. And finally, before we get started with the tutorial, I just want to give a shout out to Old Rusty. I'll have a link to his channel down in the description. The man is a genius when it comes to figuring out obscure Minecraft Bedrock mechanics and figuring out how to exploit them for your farm. So make sure you go visit his channel, drop him a like and a follow, and let's dive in to this tutorial. So as always, if you're going to want to build this in your world, I will have a complete materials list down in the description. And for those of you who are on my Discord channel, which will also have a link below, I will have access to a world download, a schematic, and also a structure file. So make sure you go ahead and join that Discord link down in the description, because that'll get you all sorts of goodies that go along with this video. So the first thing that we're going to want to do is build up. We're going to go very, very high in this farm because this farm is built at world limit, which means we're going to need to build up to Y level 297. So just grab yourself some scaffolding, build all the way up. Once you've reached the top of the farm, go ahead and place a block here, and then we're going to create a 15x7 platform. To do that, we're going to come over here, count off 7 blocks off of this center block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we're going to come over here, go 6 blocks. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're going to repeat the same on the other side and then fill in this entire segment until we have that. Once that platform is placed, come over here to any one of the corners and we're going to go up 3 blocks, and then we're going to build a 15x11 platform up here. So just extend out 11 blocks along this edge and then 15 here, and then we can go ahead and fill in all of these blocks right here. Then once that's in place, you can come down here, fill in these blocks right here, just so that you don't accidentally fall off and lose all of your items. And then you can make yourself a quick little staircase to have easy access to both levels right here. Once you have your 2 platforms in place, come over here to the center, go to the very back of the farm, count in 5 blocks, and place yourself a marker block in. This marker block is going to be the center of your farm where your warped Nylium trees are going to grow, your warp stem trees. We're going to start by placing a dispenser facing up, a dispenser in this position right here as well. Then we're going to grab ourselves some warped Nylium blocks, place 1 on top of this dispenser, 1 right beside it. We're then going to grab ourselves a trapdoor, place that right next to that, temporary block here and here, temporary block there, then another dispenser that's going to feed into this, and then 2 more temporary blocks here so that we can place down a 3rd dispenser that faces down on top of that block. So your setup at this point should look like this. Now, these 2 dispensers up here are going to be responsible for bone mealing our warped fungus. And then the bottom one here regenerates this block, and then this is going to eject our warped fungus that we have on standby in reserve so that we never run out while we're AFKing over here. We're going to go ahead and grab ourselves a hopper, place a barrel on top of it so that we have this sorter filtered out. Again, you can load all of your warped fungus in here, and this will take care of ensuring that you always have warped fungus on hand while you're AFKing at the farm. Next, place down another block right here. I'm going to be using this purple wool to designate any redstone lines. So when you see that, just know redstone will be placed there. We're going to place a torch on that block and then a redstone repeater on top of this trapdoor. This trapdoor exists so that this piece of warped Nylium fungus netherrack doesn't get broken. And make sure while you're placing that, you don't accidentally flip the trapdoor, because otherwise you will lose your repeater. Next, if you come over here to this side, we're going to place another block right here, and then we're going to place a comparator feeding out of it. This is going to detect when we have a block sitting in front of this. So if you see right there, that comparator lights up. We're going to grab ourselves a copper bulb, and you're going to place it right here. And you're going to want to make sure that if this bulb isn't waxed, that you grab yourself some honeycomb and wax it so that it never loses its luster and shine. This is just mainly so that the redstone signal doesn't get any weaker. We want this at full strength when things are powering through this. Next, we're going to grab an observer, place a temporary block here, and then we're going to have this observer right here that's going to face down into this block right here. So you can come down here and just place that. If you need easy access to this, part of the reason why this is built out here is so that you can just build yourself a little cheesy little platform to come out. As you can see right here, that gives you easy access to place that. There's going to be one other spot where we'll need to place a observer face down like that. So you can just leave that platform there until you are finished with the farm. You're going to grab 2 more pieces of wool, come off of this observer, and then we're going to bring it all the way back to right behind this dispenser right here. We're going to place 2 temporary blocks here so that we can place a sticky piston that is facing this dispenser that we have right here. Make sure that it is facing into the dispenser and not down, so that should look like this. And then we're going to have another observer directly below this sticky piston, and we can use the exact same thing. You can just extend this platform over here very, very easily so that you have access to this in survival. You can go ahead and replace that floor once you are done. You can go ahead and knock out this temporary block right here. Then we're going to grab some redstone and a few repeaters. We're going to place 2 pieces of redstone dust right here to power that. So when this dispenser fires and when that sticky piston goes off, it will regenerate that block below. Place a repeater here on 2 ticks, another repeater going into the sticky piston on 2 ticks as well. Then you're going to grab yourself a comparator coming out of this copper bulb block, and then you can fill the rest of this in with redstone dust. So at this point, you now have the main system hooked up. We're just going to do a few more wiring down here. You can have a repeater going into a dust into that, a repeater down here on 3 ticks, and then you're just going to wire this up with dust and connect that. And now the redstone system for ejecting your block is now complete. So as you can see, if we place a block there, that gets detected, it gets pushed out, this gets dispensed so that we have more warp fungus, and this block makes sure that this piece of Nylium netherrack continues to stay Nylium netherrack rather than converting into plain old Jane netherrack. Next, to finish this off, we're going to knock out these 2 blocks here real quick. We're going to place a hopper feeding into this dispenser down here, hopper feeding into that. Then we can go ahead and replace the comparator on top of that, hopper feeding into the side, hopper feeding into this dispenser, hopper on top of it, hopper feeding into this right here, and then we're going to rearrange this one ever so briefly so it feeds into that. So basically, you're going to have a barrel up here. All of your bone meal is going to be in that. It's going to go all the way down to the bottom. Then it'll fill up these 2 dispensers up here, and all of our dispensers will have bone meal. Make sure you come back over here, replace that with a comparator on top of that hopper, and then just do a quick test to make sure that that fires out. Next, we're going to build our activation circuit. So grab yourself a target block, place it right here so it's touching both of these dispensers. Then you're going to grab yourself a couple slabs. We're going to go out 1, 2, and then a solid block here. Have a repeater going into that target block with dust going behind it. Then we're going to make a 2x2 platform right over here. So just fill that in and then place 2 blocks here, then knock out that. You're going to have a comparator coming out of this block, ring around the rosy with dust, and then put that on subtract mode. Then grab yourself a lever, place that directly underneath here. And if you give that a flick, you should see that this redstone circuit basically goes absolutely haywire, and that will allow us to get the maximum amount of dispensing action that we could want. But go ahead and place yourself a block in both of these to make sure that they are both dispensing. Then once you've verified that, you can go ahead and turn it off. Swinging around here to the back of the build, go ahead and grab yourself more redstone wool blocks that you can line this. You're going to place 3 wool blocks shown, and then you staircase up. Place a lever on the outside here. We're redstone repeater going into this block right here. And then you can go ahead and align the rest of these with redstone dust. Make sure that there's no tick set on this, 1 tick here, and then also 1 tick on this repeater here. The timings are very, very important because otherwise you will have some chaos in the build. Next, we're going to add in some blocks to make sure that warp blocks don't grow and generate where we don't want them. So on top of this target block, we're going to place 4 blocks out, another 3 blocks here over to the side. Go ahead and fill in the right side of this. Then we're going to swing over here and we're going to actually grab ourselves a couple of slabs, place 1 in front of this barrel here, 1 right next to it, and then we can go ahead and fill the rest of this in with solid blocks to be 3 out as well. Then down here, I recommend you just add a couple of trapdoors. I promise they'll make your life easier because they prevent stuff from growing and then give you easy access to that barrel to refill any of the bone meal that you may possibly need. You can also go ahead down here and just kind of go crazy anywhere that you don't want this to grow. So I don't want stuff growing here, so I'm going to place it there. I don't want stuff growing up here. I can place this here. Basically anywhere that I want open air access. And probably most importantly, you're going to stand on your AFK spot here on top of this dispenser and place a trapdoor there. That'll ensure that no blocks generate right above your head, push you down, and prevent you from AFKing and breaking your whole farm. Moving on up here to the top, you're going to grab yourself right in front of that barrel. We're going to place down 2 regular pistons. Make sure that you have this aligned in the center, because if you don't, you're going to have to rebuild all of this. This block right here should be right on top of that Nylium. Place a sticky piston here on the corners and place a temporary block out here to the side. And then we're going to place a regular piston on both of these pointing into the farm. Once those are in place, you can knock these out and then place obsidian on both sides of these sticky pistons. And then because we're currently at Y level 306, we're going to bring this all the way up to Y level 318. And basically all of this is being repeated except for the target blocks, which need to be repeated every other block. So in this example right here, 318's at our feet. Repeat the exact same thing over here. Make sure that these pistons are sticking out. Then just repeat the same with the obsidian, the sticky pistons, and the pistons on back. And then finally, you can come over here, grab yourself some glass. We're going to go all the way up to Y level 318 with this. And then we're going to place a target block in here every other spot with redstone. In survival, just redstone, target block, redstone, target block, and so on and so forth until you reach the very top. Make sure you place a piece of redstone right there as well. Along here in the back, we are now going to build up and wire up these 2 middle pistons. So above this repeater right here, we're going to place a glass block and then make a 3 tall staircase. So with redstone dust, that's 1, this is 2, and that is 3. Wire that up with redstone dust. And then back here, place a repeater and then a regular block for redstone dust to live on right here. Then above all of these, we're going to place a target block, piece of glass behind it, and just repeat this pattern. So repeater on the target block, or redstone dust behind it. You should see these pistons extending. We're going to repeat this all the way up here to the top, following the same pattern here in survival. Then once that is in place, you're going to place glass along and staircase this up to make sure that all of these repeaters are powered. So in survival, again, it's just glass, redstone dust on top, glass, redstone dust on top, all the way until you reach the very top of this. And you should have enough power from that to power all of the pistons. If all these pistons up here in the front are not powered, review that you have these 3 staircase right here. You can test this whole system with that lever we added in the back. Just make sure that that lever remains off by default. Now, additionally, to ensure that we don't have any warped Nylium or shroomlights or anything else growing back here and gunking up the works, I'm going to place glass along the inside here, and I'm going to do that also along this corner on both sides. We're going to repeat the same thing over here. And then we're going to come back over here and then do another layer right behind this. This just makes sure that we don't have any of these blocks that accidentally generate here and cause this redstone circuit to get interrupted. All of our blocks then should generate in these 2 spaces right here, which when these pistons are extended will mean there is only 1 space, which will means that we are very much controlling where everything is going to be growing. Coming back down here, we're going to start wiring up these side walls right here, and we're going to start with the solid pistons. So extend out 2 blocks here, knock that out. Then we're going to extend this in this pattern right here. So over, then 2 out. So over, 2 more, down, 2 out. And then we're going to go ahead and align all of this with redstone dust. just as shown here. Do the exact same thing here on the other side. Then you're going to grab yourself a sticky piston, make sure that that line can power that, and then place a piece of redstone block right on top. Do the exact same thing here on this side as well. Next, we're going to fill in these regular pistons right behind here. So make sure you grab yourself a regular solid block and then glass and redstone. And we're going to basically repeat this pattern as shown right here. So regular block goes first against this bottom one, piece of glass, and then 2 pieces of redstone dust on top. And then you can just continue this pattern, glass with a solid block, glass, redstone on top. Complete this all the way up onto the top. And because this build is symmetrical, you can do the exact same thing here on the other side as well. Once these are in place, you can grab yourself some glass blocks, and we're just going to do another staircase. So glass, dust, glass, dust, glass, dust. Make sure that you do this on both sides of the farm behind these solid pistons. Then we can go ahead and wire these up very, very easily. Just come over here to where these sticky pistons are. You're going to place a glass block and parallel with that sticky piston. We're going to staircase up. Then we're going to have a target block that feeds into, redstone lamp, observer. And then we're going to have a solid block underneath this. I'm going to use glass in this instance, and then we're going to continue out there. Everywhere else gets redstone dust, and you should see that get powered, and that should toggle on and off, and that redstone lamp should also be powered as well. Go ahead and repeat the exact same thing on this side. So staircase up into a target block, redstone lamp, observer, and then glass blocks underneath so that you can hook everything up with a redstone dust. Next, we're going to build up the repeater towers for these sticky pistons right here that are going to be perpetually powered. So 2 glass blocks go here, 2 glass blocks go here. Then we're going to have a repeater with dust behind it, repeater with dust behind it. And then you're just going to repeat this pattern going all the way up. So survival, very easy just to place that, jump over here, place this here, do the exact same thing over here. So you have some ways to work with. Repeater, dust behind it, repeater, dust behind it as well. And you're going to complete this all the way up to the very top of the tower. Once that is in place, come back down here to the bottom. We're going to do 2 glass blocks out from this, connect that there, place a redstone dust on all of this. And then we're going just to complete this. So we build ourselves a nice simple staircase going all the way back up to the top and connecting everything. And then finally, when you get here to the top, instead of a dust, you're going to have a repeater and then dust right behind it. So that should look like that. And then when we come down here, go ahead and place a glass block in line with that sticky piston, place a piece of dust there, and you should see all of these sticky pistons be extended. And once that is done, you can just repeat the exact same thing over here on this side. Make sure that you connect this up so that the redstone block is powering it. All of the sticky pistons now should be fully extended, and then all the regular pistons should remain in their retract positions. So at this point, we have done all the hard, complicated stuff. Now we just need to go ahead and build the TNT blast chamber, which fortunately for you is very, very simple as well. Building our TNT dispenser trapper explodificator is also very simple. Just come over here, place 2 pieces of obsidian here, extend out with another piece of obsidian here, and then we're going to extend out 2 obsidian blocks over here on both the left and the right. And then we're going to build ourselves a 9x8 platform that's measuring the inside area. So corner blocks here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Make sure that you knock that out, leave the corner, extend over 9 blocks total. And then we're going to repeat, same thing, leave the corner knocked out, continue all the way over here. Then we're going to come over here, extend all the way up with this to Y level 318. You want to make sure that that extends over like that. Go ahead and fill that in with redstone, or excuse me, obsidian. Then we're going to do the same thing over here. Build these walls up and also build up the side walls here on each side so that you can connect everything. Once this is completed, this is what everything should look like. We can now work on our TNT exploder. So coming out from here, we're just going to extend out a few blocks. We're going to place a repeater that is going to go into this piece of obsidian right here. And then we are going to place a copper bulb right above it. So repeater is going to go right here. This should remain powered. Just do a quick check. If you give that lever a flip, you should see that that repeater has just enough strength to fire. Then we're going to place a copper bulb on this right here. That should light up. Comparator, copper bulb, another comparator right here. Then we're going to extend out 3 pieces of redstone dust. And then it's time to place in a couple of temporary blocks that we can place in some dispensers. As you can see, we are here at world build height. So just grab yourself a dispenser, place that right on that redstone line there, because we really can't build any higher in the game. Same thing, we're going to have a second dispenser over here. You can use this as a temporary block, just as shown. And then you're going to want to fill in the sides of this as well. In this spot right here, we can have a repeater so that you can power that, and then that can connect these two dispensers. Make sure down here on the sides, you also fill in this with obsidian so that any TNT that you're generating from these isn't going to fall down and blow everything up. And then you can just quickly add a couple of hoppers over here. You really don't need a barrel. If you're using my witch farm design, you'll have plenty of gunpowder that you can load these in, and this should last you a very good long time. Now, to really take advantage of the build height limit and just to make sure that nothing grows up here and can gunk stuff up, go ahead and build yourself a 5x4 platform over here. You can do the same thing over here. This will ensure that no Nylium or warp stem or anything else can grow over here. Go ahead and place glass everywhere you don't want stuff growing, and then just repeat the same thing to completely level this off. Total area over here should be a 9x4, and now nothing's going to be able to grow up here because, as you can see, this is world height. Swing down here to the bottom, grab yourself some ice or some blue ice, and then you're just going to fill in this 9x8 area that we had built up previously. This is going to be where our item collection system is going to live. And as you notice, there is a slight gap right underneath here, which will allow us to collect all of our items into a nice, easy sorting system. Go ahead and also grab yourself some bucket of water. You can go ahead and place these on these two spots here, and then also in the corners. Additionally, you can also place a slab in those corners and waterlog it just in case you're in a biome that turns to ice too. That can be a very, very useful trick in case you're in an ice biome for some reason building this. Next, we're going to go ahead. I know that we just placed these in, but we're going to swap them out for some hoppers. So place a temporary block here, knock out this corner block, and then we're going to feed a hopper line for all of these that feeds into that singular spot. This is going to collect all of our items that we are generating from the farm, and then we're going to want to build another line right here as well. So same thing, knock these blocks out, place a hopper in them. Normally with the ice, this shouldn't be an issue, but I like being a little bit defensive when I'm building these things so that we have easy access to all of our materials and are not losing anything. Next, it's time to put in our item sorting system that we built a million times before. So just place a hopper underneath this. Then you're going to place a temporary block under this hopper right here. Extend those some more temporary blocks all the way to the end here. Then you can replace all of these temporary blocks with hoppers, and this is going to be the start of our sorting system. Once those are in place, come around here to the back. We're going to place 2 blocks right there, knock out that first one, extend this all the way out. Then we're going to place hoppers feeding into each of these solid blocks that we have right here. Once all of these hoppers are in place, you can then knock out these solid blocks and place a block below it. From here, you can go ahead and grab yourself a comparator. Comparators are going to read out the input of all of these hoppers, have a solid block that those comparators are going to read into. Then we're going to go ahead and grab ourselves some glass, extend out here, glass down and over 1, glass right down here, and then we're going to have a target block in this position with a redstone torch in front of it. And then you're just going to repeat this exact same thing going all the way down. So all these target blocks, they've got redstone torches right underneath them, just as shown. Then we're going to have glass coming all the way down here, redstone dust on top of all of this, glass coming all the way down through here, redstone dust on top of all of this, and then same thing here, glass all the way down, redstone dust on top of everything here. So this is our item sorter. It is now done and completed. You can now then go into this, fill this up with 4 of any junk items you know are not going to be sorted. I have wool blocks here, and then you can grab yourself the item that you want to be sorted up to 41. So for instance, if we wanted to make this item sorter be responsible for shroomlights, we can go ahead and grab those, place them in, and now this is going to filter and always filter shroomlights. The 2 main items we're going to want to sort in this farm are going to be shroomlights and also the warped stem logs. Everything else we don't care about and is going to be composted. Finally, over here, go ahead and grab yourself some double chest. We're going to do the same thing and just build up with some double chest here. And then we're going to place hoppers feeding into each of these. As you can see, because I put a stack of those in, we're going to have our items filter down into this. And then you should ensure that this drops down and locks at 41 items. You can see right there that fired off. That's how you know your sorting system is working. And then just repeat the same thing for all of these spaces over here as well. Once you have all of your items sorted as you want, you can go ahead, come over here, and we're going to grab ourselves a composter and then also another hopper. This will allow us to compost all the wart blocks that we generate. Unfortunately, this farm isn't exactly bone meal positive, but you will be able to get some bone meal back just by running everything into here. You can then load this up with a double chest as you have shown here and fill that up with there so that fits in nicely with your entire item sorting system. Again, this isn't bone meal positive, but it's always nice to get a little something back. You can always feed this right back into the farm. And at this point, if you want to go ahead and fill in a couple blocks here so you have a nice easy access way, you absolutely can. And then just very quickly up here, you're going to want to make sure that you have 2 pieces of obsidian right here. This is going to be directly below where your TNT falls. This is just going to be 1 level above the water and then over 2 and then up another 5. So there should be a 4 block gap in between these two with a 2 block spacing. Now, we do have these pesky warp sim blocks that we need to take care of. This farm will generate a block right here, but unfortunately it is being ejected for us, which means we can capture it and kind of loop it around over here. So if we extend out 4 blocks, place a temporary block here, permanent block here, and then place a torch underneath this, we're able to build a very simple redirection circuit for all of the blocks that are here. This is just a simple block detection circuit. So comparator, 2 pieces of dust, redstone repeater, and then we're going to have a regular piston that feeds into. So if you place a block there, that thing gets ejected. And this is timed with the tick delay so that this always gives these pistons enough time to operate. So you really won't have any problems with this accidentally overflowing. Shouldn't have any problems whatsoever. So if you go ahead and extend this out, we're going to bring this out to 3 blocks over, so that should be in line with the edge of this. And we're doing this so that we don't accidentally power that hopper right there. So we're going to place a temporary block underneath here and then create another 2x2 platform over like this. We're going to have a repeater with a comparator, 2 pieces of redstone dust, torch, and then also a regular piston right here. That should eject that block. Then we're going to do the exact same thing over here. We're going to extend this over in line with the edge right here. And then we're going to do this one just a little bit differently. We're going to make this T shape that we have going on here. Then we're going to have a regular piston that is facing up here. Then we're going to have another block that is off here to the side. Another block over here. Redstone torch, repeater, and then a piece of redstone dust. And that should eject that block right there. Now, if you are paranoid about things extending, you can come over here and just fill some obsidian over to the side. It's not going to break anything. The farm has enough safeties in place so that even if you do hit the piston push limit, you aren't going to break anything. The farm will just automatically shut off if you accidentally extend too far. But it is always nice having some safety mechanisms in place just in case. That way you don't accidentally have blocks kind of flying everywhere. Once these are in place, we can then start working on this upper extender up here. So from this point, you're going to want to place some temporary blocks on here until you reach the piston push height. And it's very important that you reach the piston push height, because if you don't, then you'll have all sorts of problems with this getting broken. So as you can see here, that's no longer extending, which means we have reached the piston push height. So we can go ahead and knock out that temporary block, come all the way up here, and then extend out 2 temporary blocks. And then you're going to have a regular piston here, here, and here. Then you can get rid of that block right there. Then we're going to grab ourselves a piece of obsidian. You're going to have obsidian feeding off this middle block to another block over here. Again, torch, regular repeater, and then a piece of dust over here. Then we're going to have a piece of obsidian along this bottom one. Dust on top of it. Those should extend the bottom 2. Then grab yourself a glass block. That glass block can go right up here on top of this top piston with a piece of redstone dust upon it and the glass. And as you can see, that will now eject these items right here. Now, because this is in the line of fire of our TNT, you're going to want to extend over 3 blocks with obsidian in each direction. Do the same thing down to here. And then we're going to swing down. So this is where our TNT lands. we're going to want to make sure that we don't accidentally send items flying out of the farm. So extend down 2 blocks, and then we're going to align this back wall here with obsidian as well. You do not need to do this all the way to the bottom, just this 5-block row as we have shown here. So items will blow up, they'll fall down, and they'll fall down straight into the hoppers as opposed to falling out of the farm, because that's where these are being built at. Then you're going to want to create a wall so that items don't accidentally flow over. So from this right here, we're going to want to make sure our items land in those hoppers as opposed to down. So we're just going to build up 5 height here and extend all this way over. And as you can see there, over there on the right, I've also just, for convenience sake, extended the obsidian all the way down. You don't need to do that, but it is convenient not to have your items blow up there and then you lose access to them inside of your sorting mechanism. So once this is done, your blast chamber is then now complete. Now we just need to work on getting the farm set up and running it for the first time. So grab yourself some warp stem. I have a tutorial how to generate this super duper easily, but you can load up this dispenser right here. Also, you can fill up that barrel. That will take care of everything. Then you're going to grab yourself a whole bunch of bone meal. Then you can just seed this by filling in this dispenser with bone meal, this dispenser with bone meal, and then this dispenser with bone meal as well. And if you have access to it, you can just throw the rest of this in this barrel and it will sort itself out, or you can manually fill in the rest of the hoppers. Don't worry, all of the items will eventually flow into there. It's just got to fill up this bottom one first and then work its way up. Your farm is now fully ready to start. All you need to do is flip on this lever over to the right here. That will start the dispensing. Stand on top of this dispenser and make sure it is, of course, loaded with warp fungus. And then place your warp fungus here. You can see we have trees growing. There's lots of particles that just generated. And about every 6 to 9 pieces of warp fungus that you place down, you should hear some TNT go off. If you aren't hearing TNT go off, make sure that the back of the system has not gunked up with warp Nylium. Go and revisit the tutorial for those sections for more details. Now, while this farm is fully AFKable, there is one gotcha that I haven't been able to work around yet. And if you have a solution for this, I'd love to hear it. But every now and then, you will get crimson fungus that generates in here. And this, unlike all of the other grass and the roots, is not something that you can replace. So it will basically just keep bone mealing forever and burning through your entire bone meal supply. It is not the end of the world, but there isn't a good way to get rid of it without breaking part of the farm. So if you are AFKing at this, maybe just hang by your device just to make sure if it does happen, you're able to clear it manually. Otherwise, this is fully AFKable. You can just right click. That crimson fungus only shows up every 5 or so minutes though, but it's very random and it depends on kind of the RNG of the world and your game. And with all said and done, while your items are being blown up, they're being sucked in here to all of these chests that we have over here. So when the time comes for you to collect all of these items, all you need to do is stop your AFK session, come over here, open up your chest, and then you have everything that you need easily available. And again, you'll get around 1,300 shroomlights and about 1,600 pieces of warped logs for your troubles for building this farm, which is quite a fair amount. If you're looking for a farm that does just warped logs, I'll have a tutorial for that one listed below, but this farm is really designed for shroomlights and kind of really only generates warped logs kind of as a side effect of it. So if you want a dedicated warp stem log, I'll have a link down in the description to that farm as well. But that's going to be it for me in this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Please consider liking and subscribing. I hope that you found this very beneficial to you. Also, make sure you check out Old Rusty's channel because he is the inventor of kind of this crazy mechanism and abusing world height. The man's a genius and he deserves a whole lot of likes and follows over on his channel. That's going to be it for me though. Make sure you check out the Discord if you want the world download, schematic, and structure file. And let me know if there's any other farms that you would like to see as well. As always, thank you so much for your feedback. Thanks so much for subscribing and watching. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Goodbye.